Okay, go ahead and have a seat.
I'm so happy that we have this opportunity because I'm a huge Severance fan. I've already saw the whole season, but I also heard that you were a fan of Severance before joining the cast. Is that correct?
I was and remain an enormous fan of Severance. Ben Stiller told me about the premise of the show he was about to start working on at the end of 2019, and I thought it sounded intriguing. And then when I finally saw the show on television, I was completely overwhelmed by its originality, complexity, the freshness of it, and the deep intensity of the emotional relationships within it. This sort of seemingly impossible reality that we cannot experience in our lives, we've connected to so strongly and imposed so much of our own society and societal values on in an attempt to understand it. But its humanity breaks through unlike anything else. And for me, I felt it was the most exciting thing I'd seen on television for a long time. And I desperately wanted to be a part of it. And I assumed I never would be. And I was angry. I was angry about it. I was angry that I wasn't a part of this show. And I thought they'll never have me in this. And then I received I've talked about it a lot. I'm not going to talk about it again, but I received an email one day and it was a real hallelujah moment. And the goats had always been one of my most favorite elements of season 1 because it just felt radical to have that particular animal in the clinical surroundings that we know of the labyrinthine nature of Severance and of Lumen Industries. And then that felt like the total wild card. And I laughed and I chuckled and I was flabbergasted by its brilliance and maverick nature of it. And so when I was so fortunate that they said they would like me to be a part of the show, I was really hoping it would have something to do with the goats. And I said to a friend of mine, I really love the show and I really hope that I might be in it one day. And they said, what would you like to do? And I said, I'd like to do something with the goats. And they said, what are the goats? Because they hadn't watched all of the show properly. But I was overjoyed when I was told that I was in charge of the goats.
Then you got the role that you wanted. So how did the cast and crew welcome you into the fold, though? I mean, the show has a very specific atmosphere and ensemble dynamic. So what was it like finding Lorne's place in that? And did you feel you had the freedom to put your own spin on the character while fitting into the existing tone?
It was a thrilling gift because Ben said to me he wanted it to be a collaborative experience. And that can be a huge pressure in something that's pre-established and working with people that demonstrate the level of creative genius that this particular team does. And I wanted to add another aspect from what I'd seen already. But I was also working somewhat, not with all of the facts, because I very understandably wasn't given all of the script. So it was an entertaining sort of way of working through the dark, sort of playing murder in the dark. It was very interesting, working out what would work, what wouldn't work. And I was extensive in my research of what I brought, a huge range of references for the character's inner life, in terms of who she was inside, not her innie, who she was inside, about how she presented herself. I looked at works of Cindy Sherman, of Martin Margiela when he was at Hermes. I looked at, I read books about goats. I looked at farmers. I spoke to farmers. I have friends who are farmers. I spent a lot of time in fields with livestock, with sheep, because goats are more exclusive, and spent a lot of time outside understanding that phantom-like nature of a wholesome connection to the land, and tuning in to my more sensing self, an intuitive self, of dealing with animals and landscape and the great outdoors. And it was really exploring a very different side of myself. And I found something else, something rougher and something more raw, animalistic, more present and guttural. We gave a lot of time, and I was happy to spend as much time as possible on crafting the look. So it was, she's very much part of the world, but she also has her own individual department, and something that was in tune with the goats, but also at odds with them. So we see a sort of like a skirt suit, which is skirt, even the term skirt suit is not something that we hear in our lives now. It's from another time. The tie pulled apart, being very disheveled. The face that's very enhanced, but incredibly dirty, greasy. We really wanted this roughness. And I wanted to change my silhouette as well, because I felt that Lorne should be more rangy, like a goat. And I spent time around goats, just observing them, their stubbornness, the way that their sense of humor, their sense of absurdity, and the way that they lock horns suddenly as well in that combative act where they have when the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. And then I was put into the scene. So it was a very organic process. I found it extremely fulfilling. I was given a lot of confidence, which I'm very grateful for, and a lot of trust. And I loved working with such a brilliant cast of actors and stupendous production design. And working with Ben was just a dream. I loved working with him as a director.
Wow, you've really put your heart into this role. And I want to go quickly to the goat pasture reveal in episode 3, because it was so surreal and memorable. So can you share what it was like filming that sequence? For example, do you have maybe some sort of anecdotes, or what the set was looking like? Anything that you can share with us?
It was glorious mayhem. I've never known a more free actor than a goat. Goats are the freest actors I've ever known. They have no inhibitions. They're happy to chew your clothes, chew each other, climb onto a desk during a scene. They're happy to urinate during a scene, which I've never known an actor that free so far in my career. But, you know, I'm not saying it's over yet. They were so clearly so happy in the environment as well. We had lots of handlers around. They had tons of treats, and they were just exploring the whole landscape and truly making it their own. They were wild and unbridled, and they had a great sense of humor. I'd be receiving a makeup touch-up, and Goat would just be in chewing the brush. And we let them, because we were into it and we enjoyed every second of it. It really was just glorious mayhem of it all. And I was playing this very serious scene with Adam and Britt. And there was a goat butting its head against my knees all the way through the scene. And I don't normally laugh in scenes. I'm quite serious and boring. But I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed. And it's quite perilous because, you know, I'm working with really phenomenal actors and great director. But luckily they saw the funny side too. But we just carried on.
That was amazing. So thank you very much, Gwendoline. Our time is over, but it was really great opportunity. And once again, thank you for this, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so very much. Have a lovely day.